Welcome everyone to the first edition of Tales from Trails. My audio may not be working well in this video. I'm not sure. If it's not, I do apologize. My microphone is now broken. I will be ordering a new one when I get back home. But I could not wait to watch this trailer. I am a person who has been playing JRPG games for 30 years now. My first favorite, obviously, not shockingly, was Final Fantasy. 7 was one that really got me. I played it when it came out. Back when there was KB Toys stores, I bought it from there, and the second disc would not play, and I was so engrossed in the story that I could barely wait for my parents to get me to the store so I could swap it out. After a while, Final Fantasy faded a bit for me, and Tales of became my favorite JRPG series, partly because I just craved storytelling and character development. And back then, it was a big enough deal to me that when the characters walked and they weren't in town and they were in dungeons or out on the field, they still had conversations with each other. That's what it took to blow my mind back then. Then came my third favorite JRPG series, which became by far my favorite series of all time, The Legend of Heroes. There might be a few spoilers in here because obviously it's hard to talk. I've not watched this trailer, but it's hard to talk about this trailer without talking about Trails of Cold Steel. But this is by far my favorite series. I would like to make videos about the entire Trails series. If people start to follow along, if people crave conversation, storytelling, characters, we have to wait so long between these games. If you want me to make videos, I will start from the beginning and tell my Trails story. But my God, I love storytelling. As I said, I love character development, the NPCs, the characters, the world building, the connections. And now, by God, we've got anime. I am very interested to see where this is going to go. So let's kind of drop in here and see what's happening in this Northern War official trailer 2.
15歳にして本体へ昇格後まだ数ヶ月。ラビ教官、あなたには帝国へ潜入してもらいます。我々を脅かす未知の存在、帝国の英雄の情報をつかむため任務を引き受けます。ま、無茶すんなよ。だからこそ訓練が必要なのでは。私らが頑張っ。
So it's looking like this is going to be from the perspective of characters who are not part of the actual gaming series, and that can be interesting. I will always give this series a chance with new characters. You know, it gets hard because we all love the characters that we love, but we also want to welcome in the next characters that we might fall in love with.
共和国が帝国に敗れた。たった一人の帝国の英雄によって。
英雄は皆の中で勝手に一人歩きし膨らんでいく。何かの呪いみたいにね。
手を打たなければノーザンブリアは戦乱の炎に包まれる。
私のやるべきことは。
お前はラビアン・インスレット、自慢の孫だよ。
果てしなく続いて終わりの始まり。帝国の英雄リーン・シュバルツァ、お前に話がある。
勝手に期待させろ。守らせろ。
適当でいいじゃん。
言ってください。あなたのやりたいこと。
何があっても私がノーザンブリアを守る。
Oh boy. Oh boy. So what I get out of this video is that there's a lot of conflict building and amping and ready to go. We got Rean Schwarzer, the great hero that he is. My second favorite hero right now in the series. I have played all the way through the first Calvard game, so there's some contention about my favorites. But Rean Schwarzer, we were with him for 5 games. By God, we got to give him something. He was a hero, someone who took on, I think, more than he could handle many times. And we got, it looks like, another young hero or protagonist who wants to do the same. She seems more than ready to take up this job. There seems to be a family or relational dynamic. I saw a lot of characters from the game, ones I would be interested in seeing more of. It'd be nice if Sarah was here as well. I don't know if she will be or not, but obviously that there's deep ties there. Yeah. You never know how to judge these things, because sometimes when something's outside the norm as far as how production is made, it could either be a significant part of the storytelling, or it could be this kind of spin-off that's not really up to the quality. And as someone who's more, like I said 3 times now, story-based, character-based, I won't know till I've watched it. But I like this idea of seeing the perspective of people who are not the Empire, not Rean Schwarzer, because we got his side of things. And as good as he tried to be, as much as he tried to protect people, he is still invading at times. He is still doing the bidding of the Empire. So I'm excited to see this. It takes me back to the end of Game 1, because they talk about heroes walking among us in that trailer. But the reason I loved the Legend of Heroes title is because the hero status is earned. So you think about Rean at the end of Trails of Cold Steel 1. He hasn't proven anything to anybody. He's not a hero in the world, but he is broken by the fact that he is flown away at the end and he doesn't get to stay and fight. Now, when you go back and you play that for the first time, is that a great hero who wishes he could have stayed and made a difference? Or is that a young man who wants to involve himself, but he might have no ability whatsoever in a fight that big? The answer to both at that time is yes. But Rean Schwarzer grows into that desire. He grows into that vision. He grows into that hope of being there for people, of protecting. We know the story with Juna is very similar, that he is both the arm of Erebonia and yet the protector of those who sometimes Erebonia is invading. And so do we see a little bit of him and mostly these new characters? Do we see a darker side, or at least like a bad side from another perspective? Or do we see this lovely mix of things maybe in this anime, where we both have to look at him as Invader and we have to look at him as Erebonia, but we also see those classic moments where he is through and through a good-hearted hero. Altina, like my favorite arc, one of my top 5 favorite arcs, because there's so many good ones, has to be her in the latter half of Cold Steel. And you don't get that if you don't have Rean Schwarzer. So how is this young lady who is going out to target and get intel on the hero we know going to interact with him? Will they stay enemies? Will she see a different side of him? What will we come to understand about North Ambria? And is it important because it's going to tie back into other things in the game? Or is this kind of a one-off just to give us some backstory? You never know with this series. But like I said, it's my favorite by far after 30 years of gaming. I would love to tell all the stories from beginning to end. If there ends up being interest, I will do that. But until next time you have heard the story, This has been Tales from Trails.